Hello and welcome to this episode of Wings Podcast. This is your host Milind Agnihotri, and we have with us today a very young friend of mine, Vedashree Patankar, a 25-year-old Mumbai girl who, very interestingly, she is, as a day job, she is a market researcher and leads the marketing initiatives of a wellness brand, a very well-known wellness brand in Mumbai called Health and Wisdom. What she was also telling me when I was speaking to her last, that she's also taken to learning Indian classical music, especially singing, which she's got to it and she thoroughly enjoys it. And on a fun, chilled out day, she can be seen shopping around in the streets of Mumbai. Guess what? For what? For earrings. And that seems to be her new love, which, of course, we would love to know from Vedashree where this has come from. And is it just love, or has it gone a bit beyond? She tells me that it's bordering on the verge of obsession. So let's meet our young friend Vedashree. So hi Vedashree, welcome to the show.
Hello everyone. Thank you so much for having me.
So Vedashree, let me begin by asking you first, how does it feel to come on this show?
I feel very honored and very grateful for you for having me here and giving me this sort of platform to talk about myself and my journey. And it's very gratifying to know that someone's interested in knowing what we youngsters are up to and what we want to do in the future. So it's really nice for you to ask us and get our journeys down here.
Yeah, I mean, I have also walked that path, and it's a fun ride. So tell us, Vedashree, what are you doing these days? Where are you in your life? What's keeping you occupied? What's giving you the joys and the frustrations? Let us hear something. Let's begin there.
Okay, so as you said, my day job is as a market researcher, and I really enjoy that job because a part of me is like an introvert extrovert, like a mixture. So this job is like the right mix. So the extrovert part of me is satisfied with this job because I get to talk to a lot of people. I do qualitative market research, so that involves talking to a lot of people and understanding their sort of behavior and mindsets. And then my introvert part is satisfied because then I get to sit back and sort of analyze why they have spoken the way they have spoken, or why are they behaving the way they have. So that's my job, like 9 to 5 job that I have. And then, as you said, I also lead marketing for this wellness brand. So that has given me a more creative outlet for myself, because then I get to experiment with things there. So it's not just, oh, this is what the client brief is, and then you have to work on it. It's more of, oh, we'll do this, we'll try this out. If it doesn't work, then we try something else. So that wellness brand has given me that creative outlet. And then otherwise, you can just find me practicing my music or listening to music. And the earrings part has been a big part since the lockdown, because social media has been a major part of entertainment and also an outlet for just creativity of other people. So this earring obsession has become to see what people are creating out of it, and then my sort of thought that I want to own it, or rather I want to be a part of their creativity. So that has given rise to my obsessions. But these 4 or 5 things really take up all of my time, and otherwise I'm a normal 25-year-old, movies and friends and everything. So that's all pretty general and normal.
Interesting, because when you talk about leading marketing for a wellness brand, I mean, this is very interesting because typically one has heard marketing of probably consumer product brands or something to do with products which are of personal use and other things. So tell us more about how different is this health and wellness industry, and what has attracted you in terms of trying to promote that. That would be interesting to know.
Sure. So, as you said, usually people know about consumer brands and they know it because it's more consumer facing. You can go and buy a product. But here, when you're trying to market a service, it's a completely different sort of ball game, because here you are trying to almost sell your honesty, or trying to sell your image, your brand before they avail of the service. So it's not a very one-on-one uh, purchase or sale, So in that sense, it's quite interesting. Like, people have to first trust you, especially in the health segment, where trust is paramount. And with everything going on with COVID, and with in general distrust of medical professionals, like I meant in terms of pharma companies per se, it's very difficult to earn that trust. But what we at Health and Wisdom, what I want to promote is that it's very authentic. What information we are providing you is authentic, and it's in the best interest of the person to reduce their medications, to reduce the cost and burden of the medical aspect of it. So authentic and reducing the burden. So that's the two things that we want to focus on. So that's how I look at it. I look at that marketing aspect of it. And why I got interested in it is because of my father. He's a well-known doctor and pathologist in Mumbai. And I got thrown into this because of my own diabetes. So that's where we come to. So in 2012, I got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Now, type 2 diabetes is usually the old people diabetes, like the ones that most people know their aunts, uncles, and grandparents having. So I was diagnosed with that. And through dealing with it and through understanding it myself, I was very interested in the field, saying, oh, this information is available, but how do we get it to the people? So how do you distill it almost and make it simplified enough that people can avail it? And that's how I got into this health and wellness field.
Just hold on to that thought, because you just mentioned that sometime in 2012 you found yourself diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. So that was a young age of 15, 16, right? I mean, probably that's what you would be then.
Yes, absolutely. I had just finished my 10th standard exams. And it was this, I remember this one day, we were just checking. I was feeling a little woozy, and we have a family history. So we just checked my sugars. We had the machine and everything. And suddenly my father is like, oh, this is very high. The sugars are quite high. We should go get your further test done. And that's when it, started, like finishing my 10th exams. And then after that, just a few months after that, getting this diagnosis. So quite a crucial time for me, at least, as a young college student, just going into, junior college, and getting that diagnosis was pretty hard. Actually, it was quite difficult.
And what were the symptoms that you were experiencing? Can you share if it is possible for you?
Sure. So the first symptoms which I remember was I got this sort of blackness in front of my eyes. I started feeling like woozy. Felt like I had to sit down for a while. I couldn't walk properly, and I had this sudden urge to just eat something, just something very carby. And that's when we realized that maybe the sugars were very high, and that's what was giving these symptoms. And other times I used to realize that I was feeling so bad, so much that I just wanted to sleep. Like there was nothing else I could do at that point. And that's how these symptoms led us to believe that this was diabetes.
So, at one end, what I know of Vedashree is, uh, I'm sure you must be comforted with the fact that in your father, you had a medical expert on the subject of diabetes. So I'm sure that must be very comforting for you. Somebody right at home, next to your bedside, etc. But nonetheless, I'm sure at that age of 15, 16, for any normal a boy or a girl who hasn't had an illness of this type, that's an age when one probably dreams for oneself that I'm just finishing my school and this is what I want to do. This is what kind of education I want to go through, and this is the kind of work that I may want to do. So what were your dreams for yourself at that stage, and how did it kind of unfold going forward, and what role this medical illness of yours did it impact? How did it change your thinking to come to where you are today?
A beautiful, very interesting question, because at that point I wanted to rebel. I just
Oh.
wanted to sort of, I wanted to show my own identity. Oh, I'm now a 16-year-old who is going away from home and going to college, and I want to sort of craft my own place even in my peer group. So I wanted to be the one who would go out and be with friends and have my own network of people. But then this condition sort of gets you down. It gets you a little, you have to be cautious. Like the starting days, you have to, because you're still figuring out your disease. So you need to be cautious. You need to figure out what's happening with your body. And I wasn't ready for that. I was just saying, "Nahin, this is not going to hinder me. I'm not going to let it get in my way at all." And that, I think, pretty much uh, became a sore point for my parents and me, like our relationship, because they wanted to take care, they wanted me to be more combat. So that's where the disease sort of became a sore point. And so what I wanted to do at that point was, I was pursuing my BCom education, and I wanted to do CA. So the CA classes and everything is quite strenuous. Like we had almost 8-hour classes. And here, when you are sitting for so long and you have very few breaks, and you're basically just cramped in one place, managing this disease is a thoda difficult, because you can't just go and be like, oh, I need to take my medications now, or oh, I need to figure out what time I need to eat. And diabetes is all about maintaining those patterns. Honestly, coming to terms with just how to maintain your patterns and timings and all of that was quite difficult during those days. And again, um, that's where I felt there was this two types of Vedashree. One who was at home, used to take care of her diabetes and be very sincere about it, and then one Vedashree who was outside, who wasn't taking care of it at all. She was not being very good with her own body and experiences, because she was just trying to fit in. Like looking back, she was just trying to fit in. But yeah, that's the diabetes and the relationship evolved.
So what I sense here is it was not just probably a battle at the physical level that you were probably engaged with. Were there other some mental battles that you had to kind of deal with, and what were they, and how did you cope with that?
You perfectly said that there weren't just physical battles. The physical part is almost easy to deal with. Once you understand, like I said, the patterns, once you understand, you deal with them. But the mental stuff, like the whole uh, taboo of it all, was really difficult to handle. Like it took me almost 8-9 years. Like maybe this year I feel much better about myself and my diabetes, but it took so long to just deal with the feelings of. So first, if I go back to say 15, the feelings at that point were, oh, why me? Why was I detected with this disease? Like, what did I do so wrong that I have this? Then it evolved into, oh, I don't really care about this. Like this is some part of me that I have to hide, and I don't have to share it with anyone. Then it turned into, okay, I am accepting this, fine, I have to deal with this, but maybe I will not be as open about it, because nobody will understand me. There is no support from anyone. And that's how it sort of evolved. Maybe nobody will understand, because usually whenever I have encountered people or told them about my diabetes, the first reaction is, oh yeah, my XYZ grandparent has it and they also have to deal with it. And I'm like, Arey, I am a 20-year-old over here. My diabetes is very different from your grandfather's diabetes. So like all of those questions and all of that, what do you say, misinformation was very jarring to deal with. And so I started shutting that down, part of me down. But like when I say I have come to accept it now, there was a big part of this one community that I found that played a big role in my acceptance. So what has happened was, my father, as I said, he's a diabetologist. So a patient came to him who was my age and similar symptoms, and she was also like this sort of rebel child who was like, oh, I don't want to deal with my diabetes because nobody understands. And my dad was like, hey, I know another person like you, connect, both of you get connected. And we connected so well. It was like just like fire. Like it was, we met and sparks flew and we just became really good friends. And she connected me to other diabetics because she also knew other young people who were dealing with this. Now we are a group of around 10 people, type 2 diabetics, young, like 20 to 30-year-old, who basically come together and rant about our condition and what we are going through, because they are the only group who understand. And so when you say the mental part of it, just support, just simple people supporting each other and knowing that there is someone like you is so gratifying. I have never felt that community support and care before in any circumstances.
So this is interesting because, somehow what you're trying to say is here is a lone warrior who is trying to, fight her own battle on various psychological fronts, as I see it. One is wanting to become the carefree, fun-loving, outgoing extrovert that you wanted to be, but here something was pulling you back for with this little illness. But in this community, the lone warrior found a few friends, and this group. But is it all about lamenting about one situation, or and kind of sob story? I offer my shoulder, you offer your shoulder, or is it something beyond? How does this community help? Is it only to release, or
So,
is it also to build something?
so what a fun question, because at the start it did start being like a soft place, like it was a lot about lamenting and ranting, but slowly, like all of us collectively, we were also going through, like, you know, different stages in life, and we did realize that this wasn't helping. It wasn't helping anyone. It was neither helping us, it wasn't helping our relationship with our peers or family, anything. So we needed to get out of it. We had to get out of this role of being why me, that sort of victimizing ourselves. We had to get out of it if we wanted to live the lives we were envisioning for ourselves,
Correct.
with or without the diabetes. And so I think there was a shift when one of our group members suggested we go for a marathon. Like we all run for this 5K, 10K marathon. So she suggested we go for this 5K run as a bonding exercise. And
Awesome.
all of us were like, really? Marathon? You want to run? And she's like, yeah, what a fun bonding exercise. And till that point, our group had done none of it. We were all just ranting about how, we eat and we get high sugars. But here we were like, okay, we're actively thinking about doing something better for our bodies, like exercising or taking good decisions. And it was, as she said, it was a great bonding opportunity. Five of us woke up at 6 a.m., went there, and we ran that 5K, and it was beautiful. Like I have never had such a fun running experience till then or since then. And
Awesome.
that's how the community is evolving now. We're trying to be better. We're actively trying to make good decisions in terms of diabetes. And uh, honestly, that shift, that thinking process shift also transferred to other parts of my life. So this making good decisions, making better choices also came to my job, my choices that I made otherwise. So it's not just for that one specific part of my life. It percolated everywhere else.
So what happened to the choice that you made, or at least the wish that you had to become a chartered accountant and CA? What happened to that?
Oh my God. Okay, so we had to do a few pivots there. So realized midway, and truly grateful for my parents at that point, who were supportive of my decision to drop that whole thing. Like they could see me not being happy. They saw that I was not satisfied with the choice that I made. And I had made that because at that point, everyone in my college was doing it. I was a good student. I was like, great, I will also do this. And midway through it, so I gave the first exam, passed. Second exam, I was miserable. And then I failed the second exam. And then you start getting into this self wallowing sort of cycle. Oh, I am this, I am that, I should have done this, I should have done that. And there's no point to that. So she took a step back and just said, okay, I'm not happy in this. Maybe I should do something else. And that started this almost 1.5 year journey of me just figuring out what I wanted to do. And it was difficult. It was so scary because all of these other people in my CA class were becoming CAs. They were all getting these fantastic jobs and salaries. So I was like, where am I going wrong? What is it with me that is not able to succeed? Uh, but that 1.5 year paid off. So this by this time, I suppose it was 2017 when I finally said, okay, I like to do a few things. So I like to talk to people. I basically wrote down a list of things I like or can do. And then we went ahead from that and we stumbled upon market research. And it was like a bulb lit up in my brain. And I was like, oh, this is what I want to do. But that 1.5 year was quite tough because everyone else used to ask, oh, what are you doing now? Oh, you finished your BCom. Now what? And I was like, I don't know now what. Why do you keep asking me now what? And I suppose every sort of 20-year-old can relate with this because most people have this one path charted, if they are doing engineering, if they are doing medicine, they know, MBBS hai, fir MD karenge, fir whatever, or even for that, what, BA, MA, whatever. Now here, after BCom, I didn't want to do MCom, I didn't want to do CA. Then what? And so that 1.5 year of 2017 to 2018 almost was my soul searching period. I wish it was more glamorous, but it wasn't. It was just me at home figuring out what to do.
So interesting you say this because, that is an interesting phase in life, 18, 20, where at least in an Indian culture, maybe the whole world is trying to judge you and form opinions about you. And then you are judging yourself too. So this whole judgment battle, does it play out for a young 18, 20-year-old who has to give up a dream of becoming a chartered accountant and say, okay, I'll recalibrate and fine, let me see what I'm good at? I mean, how has that got kind of negotiated for you?
Uh, I think a big part of that was being really bad at CA that propelled it because I was like, definitely not this. So once you are at that point where you definitely know what you don't want to do, then you can start searching for what you want to do. So
Very
that
interesting.
really helped. Uh, Also, my parents. So most Indian parents I know or I've heard of, they really want to push their kids into this sort of successful career where you are either a doctor, you are either an engineer, if you're doing something with your life. And for my parents being doctors, them telling me, no, it's okay, you take that time to figure things out, I thought was quite a unique thing for them to do, and very grateful for them because must not have been easy for them either. Because people must have asked them as well, no, oh, is your daughter a doctor? What is she doing now? And for them to be like, no, she's not, she's not doing anything right now. So that was a difficult time. I actually did try to do a bunch of things in between. So the whole Indian mentality of don't sit idle, do something. So I also did that. But I knew that wasn't the final destination. That was just one path or one sort of stepping stone. So I did a bunch of courses. I actually did a teaching course as well in between. But that wasn't like the final goal. We're still looking for things.
So for sure, for a daughter of successful doctors, who knows that I cannot be a doctor or do not wish to be a doctor, one has tried to choose the chartered accountancy path but given up, experimented with all this. Of course, all this is to be successful or to feel successful, even probably. And of course, when I'm saying successful, I'm eventually talking about possible happiness. So uh, how does how do you define success for yourself, Vedashree, at this stage in your life? Say that if 5-10 years down the line, if you see yourself doing ABCD, you think Vedashree has achieved success the way she wanted it to be. How do you look at this?
So I'll just go back in time. So for a 15-year-old or even a 20-year-old, Vedashree, success would have been to have a thriving corporate career and going bunch of places and. But it was very vague. It was more of, oh, she's going to be earning XYZ money, and that's how Vedashree is going to be happy. That was what 15-year-old, 20-year-old Vedashree had that in mind. Right now, I just turned 25. So right now I'm redefining my own parameters of success, where I'm saying, okay, for me, success is going to be where I have a job that is fulfilling, like market researchers at this point, where I get to do what I love, which is talking to people and interacting with them. And another part of me where I get to fulfill my own creative side. So it's about, indulging in music. It's so basically having that work-life balance. And if I do have that in the future, that will make me very happy. That would make a 25-year-old Vedashree 5 years down the line very happy.
So tell us, you said you used the word music just now, and we started the show where I introduced you as somebody who's learning Indian classical music, singing Indian classical music. So tell us, where has this love for Indian music come from? And I know your mother sings well. So I don't know. Tell us what is music doing to you now?
Sure. So music has had a tremendous impact on me since a childhood. I tried to learn different types of music. So it wasn't Indian classical music because I thought that was very serious. And for me, I was a very bubbly child. So I was like, no, I can't sit still and learn classical music. And that's not my cup of tea. But since I started working, I wanted something that would calm me down, something that would really give me that sort of stability. And that's how after college I signed up for a Indian classical music class. And how that's helping me is it really calms me down. It makes me very centered, and that has helped me sort of de-stress. So music has been a constant even through the lockdown period. That has been a constant. कुछ हो ना हो music class अपन attend करेंगे ना, everything will be okay in the end. So that's how music has played a role in my life.
Want to sing one or two lines for us right now?
Sure. Okay,
any of your favorite songs? Anything? Just a little. Love to hear your melodious voice.
Sure. So what do I sing? So this is the song that has been playing in my head since morning. So I'm just going to sing that. It's that Aaj jaane ki zid na karo. I don't know why it's stuck, but I'm going to sing it.
Please,
if you want to sing anything else, please let me know.
No, I love you for that, Vedashree. If you please go ahead. One of my favorites.
आज जाने की जिद ना करो, आज जाने की जिद ना करो, यूं ही पैरों में बैठे रहो, यूं ही पैरों में बैठे रहो, आज जाने की जिद ना करो.
Vedashree, how much I would have loved to have this conversation going on and on and on, but I may have to, probably in the interest of time, let you go probably on this note. Though I would want to say, I would not want to let you go in that sense. We would love to talk more about it, but as we are kind of ending this beautiful conversation, which is leaving me very excited and high, what is it that you would want to tell Vedashree now?
What I would tell Vedashree now is hang in there. You will figure things out as you go along. It's not a do or die situation where if you can't figure it out right now, it's going to be a tremendous failure. It's fine. Figure it out. And it's going to be all right. It's going to be a good ride.
You know, I can't sing. I have a horrible voice. But one song that is coming to my head right now as I listen to you is that beautiful song from this film Swades, which says, "Yun hi chala chal rahi, yun hi chala chal, kitni haseen hai ye duniya." So
Yes.
that's how I see the canvas, Vedashree. So lovely to have you on the show. Thank you so much. It's been a great pleasure to listen to you, and I'm sure our listeners of the show, in their own ways, would see how a young, energetic, girl has her own vision and passion and doing some amazing work in the health and wisdom industry, taken to music, has fought the personal battles on physical, mental front, and saying to herself, "Jane ki zid na karo, just hang on there." So I think that seems to be the message. So just as we close, I want to hear from you. How do you feel about the conversation we have just had, and what is this leaving you with?
It was lovely to go down the memory lane with you just to see how far I've come. I know it's we started off with like me like a 15-year-old, and then 10 years down the line where I have ended up, or rather where I am at this point. And it was lovely to have that conversation. And right now it's given me a lot of perspective, because it's a what do you say? It's a bad day, not a bad life. And so that's where I am right now. So thank you for the opportunity to just talk about my journey with you.
Wish you good luck, stay strong, and shine bright. Love to see you soon when I move in Mumbai next. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you for your time today, my dear listeners. This is your host, Milind Agnihotri, signing off. Goodbye, take care, and stay safe. This podcast is for general information purposes only and should not be considered as a piece of any professional advice. Views and opinions expressed in this podcast are those of its guest. Creators of this podcast expressly disclaim any and all liability or responsibility for any direct or indirect, consequential, or other damages arising out of any individual's use of this podcast. For feedback and suggestions, please write to wingsindia75 at gmail.com. Thank you.